Hey everyone, welcome to the first week of the holiday playoffs for determining what gifts order people will get. On the screen now is showing the first round of this tournament. We're going to do the order from bottom to top, just so for each of the next weeks, we'll start with the lower tier tournaments and go up to the people playing for first. Also to note with the seed numbers here, that gives people home field advantage if you have the higher seed. So let's get started into this. So first game, we have the Bears at the Eagles, and we are in the second quarter. Not much happened in the first quarter. And here we get a 34-yard pass to number 26, Sanders, which was a good start for the second quarter. As you tell, not much was happening in the first. It was a little bit back and forth, but now we got more yardage being gained. About a minute later, we're down on their own, the opponent's 32, and we get ready to watch this throw to a fumble, which is picked up by the Bears' Hicks, number 96, and he got a short little gain there to get down on the opponent's side of the field. On that same drive, we got the Bears down to the 1-yard line, and we get a 1-yard rush to 32 Montgomery. So that puts the Bears on the board, 7-0. With 21 seconds left on the clock, the Eagles here get a pretty big gain, which we thought wasn't going to turn into nothing, to number 18. So this was a great field position setup for the end of the first half. So next play, Wentz goes back for a pass, which gets picked off by Eddie Jackson, number 39. And that pretty much seals the end of the half there, so we have 7-0 Bears. Now to the fourth quarter with 3 minutes and 23 seconds left on the clock. Wentz kind of decides to take things in his own hands and actually gets a pretty good rushing yards here for 20. After the 2-minute warning, with being in the red zone, Wentz throws to Jeffrey, which gets leveled here and fumbles the ball, and Bears ball, which basically they run out the clock to end the game. So 7-0, not too much action there, but the Eagles did get a lot more passing yards down, but was failed to make any points of that. Next game, we have Cleveland at the Lions, and here we're on the second quarter. And we get a nice 3-yard rushing touchdown to Swift, number 36. So that's 7-0. Cleveland has the ball. And we get to see a little action here where Mayfield actually fumbles the ball, but by some luck, the Browns do recover it to kind of save the drive. Without scoring on the drive, the Lions is able to drive down the field. And here we see a pass attempt, which turns into a fumble at the 1-yard line. This actually caused a little controversy and then had a booth review. And during this review, you could clearly see his knee was down, so the Lions actually got to keep the ball at the 1-yard line. So 3rd and goal now, and we're set up in shotgun formation, which is a little odd for a 1-yard touchdown attempt, but they were able to complete it to Swift again for his second touchdown of the day. And this basically will line up for the Browns to try to do something to retaliate before the half. With 1 second left, the Hail Mary attempt comes out, and it fails. So we end the half 14-0 Lions. Third quarter, we get a 37-yard field goal. And then the fourth quarter, we got the Browns down at the goal line for a nice little touchdown pass to put them on the board finally. And this is Hooper. And this basically kind of seals up the game. Not much happened in the last 4 minutes, so it became Lions with the score of 17 and the Browns with a score of 7. Again, the Lions had way more complete yards and kind of stayed up top early on. Next up, we have the Bengals at New York. At the start of this play, we have number 88, get a huge catch and a lot of yards after the catch to actually score the first touchdown very early in the game. This touchdown did go for 74 yards. Handoff to Saquon, which actually turned into a fumble, but later on was actually ruled a turnover. Oh, it wasn't. It was overturned, and they kept the ball again. His knee was down before the ball started coming out. So now we're at a 38-yard field goal attempt here by the Giants, which was actually good. So now we got 10-0 Giants. And on the last minute of the half, Bengals have the ball on the 22nd. And we get a little QB sneak, which turns into a fumble that the Giants pick up and end the half with the possession, but no score. Third quarter, we get a handoff to Saquon, which actually got a lot of yards this time, up to 42 yards on this one play. He had a little trouble at the beginning of the game, but this half he started picking up. Next play, let's not fix what's working, so they hand it off again for 11-yard touchdown attempt, but you can see a flag was called for holding on the Giants, so it took away this touchdown. So now we get a 32-yard field goal attempt, which was good. Fourth quarter, the Bengals are trying to get some points at least on the board, not too far behind yet. And they actually started getting more completions. This is the first time A.J. Green caught the ball, but it was a 20-yard play. Later in that same drive, we get a nice little completion here for a touchdown to Ross, number 11 of the Bengals, to get some points on the board. So now they end this at 7, which now they don't have too far to go, and let's see if they can pull it off. So with 11 seconds on the clock and no timeouts, they throw it to Ross again, who goes upfield instead of running out of bounds, and the time is wasting. They go to a quick little huddle, and time runs out, and they lose the game. The Bengals' frustration matches this here. I don't know how else to describe what happened there, but we see the Giants win 13-7. Next game is Seahawks at the Titans. Seahawks lose their home field advantage here. So the first play of the game, the Titans had a little rough start with the fumble, but they were able to recover their own fumble to kind of set that up. And that's all that basically happened in the first quarter. Second quarter, we have at the 12-yard line a handoff to Carson, which actually got a touchdown. So that put the Seahawks on the board 7-0. All right, so later on, the Titans have the ball, which pass completion, and then just gets leveled by the Seahawks for a fumble and a turnover on downs. And then we get a pick later on by the Titans to counter the fumble that occurred there. And that was 55 Brown to stop that drive. I said the Titans are down on the 11-yard line with a play action pass to Smith for 11 yards, which was a great catch, by the way. The third quarter was all a Seahawks drive to this play here for a 20-yard field goal, which was good, which makes the game 10-7. Titans with the ball here. Pretty early on, and again a pass was completed but got hit and fumbled, and Wright picked up the fumble here. After this, Seahawks gets the ball and we get a QB sneak here, which he got hit again. This is their third fumble and picked up by Brown again, so this is his second fumble recovery. So Titans trying to catch up the game with less than 40 seconds on the clock, and they kind of fumbled the ball for the fourth fumble, but this is their first one for the Seahawks to recover and end the game at 10-7. So good game. Again, the Titans kind of had more yardage, but failed to put points on the board. Next up, Cardinals are in Baltimore. in the first quarter. This kind of set the whole tone of the whole game of a defensive matchup here. And we get a sack for a 7-yard loss here. So this is a long field goal attempt. And then again, the Cardinals with a drive got down for a 48-yard field goal attempt, a little shorter than the last one, and that was good at 6-0. Yeah, so the first one was a 53-yard attempt over the Cardinals to correct. Here we have Lamar Jackson, who decides to start actually rushing the ball finally in the third quarter and got a 26-yard pickup here. Which again, Jackson takes the ball and puts the Ravens on the board with a 4-yard rush. So it's 6-7. And then the first play after the kickoff, after the points there, Cardinals here throw an interception for a pick 6. All right, so Cardinals get the ball back. And here we get a huge sack of 14 yards back to put them 4-31. And then here we get a fumble that was actually picked up by Hicks. I had my notes mixed up there. And that got the Cardinals the ball back and set up a nice pass completion here to Hopkins for a 62-yard touchdown play. So with the struggle with the defense, we finally get the Cardinals up. So now we get a 2-point conversion attempt here, and for some reason the QB decides to try to rush it in and fails the 2-point conversion. So Ravens are still up by 2. And here Jackson decides to run with the ball once more and actually fumbles for the second time and picked up by the Cardinals. This sets up a long drive to get down to the 2-yard line for the Cardinals to hand it off and get a touchdown to number 82. The Ravens did attempt 2 more Hail Marys. This one is a clip of the second one, but did fail to convert and put up any more points to lose the game by 5. So 19-14. As you can tell, the Ravens had a rough time passing in this game. Next up, we have the Falcons are at LA. The Rams start the game off with a first quarter touchdown to Kupp for 14 yards. Some reason I got lost there. So now the Ravens get the ball at the beginning of the second quarter, which they just decide to throw it to the Rams for a pick 6 here. And here we got a 50-yard attempt that failed. So the Falcons' attempt to get any points on the board was not there. So before the 2-minute warning, the Rams have the ball. And there is a lot of scrambling, which sets up a fumble, which gets the Falcons a touchdown in the second quarter. Great recovery by Jarrett, number 97. Third quarter was pretty much nothing. So we start off at the top of the first quarter with a fumble by the Falcons, which is picked up by the Rams. So again, we pick back up where the Falcons are near the red zone. And they get a nice completion here for 20 yards to set up at the 1-yard line. But fail to complete to get the final points of the game and end up losing 14-7. Okay, I'm on the right notes now with the Chargers and New Orleans. And the Chargers drive down the field the whole first quarter to get this 3-yard touchdown to Allen. Again, we see the Chargers down in the red zone for another touchdown pass for Tyler to Hill for 10 yards. Then we see a 47-yard field goal attempt by the Chargers to end the half, which is good. So we start the second half 17-0. So now we see a 32-yard field goal attempt by the Saints, which is good to finally put them on the board with 3 points. So for the Chargers, they went for it on 4th down with the lead already to get a 4-yard rushing touchdown to Eckler. All right, so about 3 minutes left in the 4th quarter. We have Breeze, who throws a interception, which was taken for a lot of yards, but they actually managed to stop him right before the touchdown at the 1-yard line. With a couple plays and losing some yard, Tyler decided that he won his own points and goes in for a 2-yard rushing touchdown. I said Taylor. Sorry about that. So we get 31-3. Chargers wins that game. Final game of round 1. We have the Bucs at the Broncos, and this was a nice little 22-yard pass by former New England players, which that drive actually ended up for a 4-yard touchdown by McCoy. Second quarter, the Broncos throw a nice interception to number 23 for the change of possession. Near the end of the first half, there was this big sack by Casey, number 99, for 12 yards, which kind of just set the tone of the end of the half here. We get a field goal attempt that was no good. This field goal was 48 yards out. And then we get to the 4th down where the Broncos decide to go for it and completes the pass to number 14. And then here we got a pick for a deep pass at the beginning of overtime, which cost the Bucs big time. That was a small gained play. Some here, there's a PS4 symbol, but the Broncos does fumble, but got picked up and actually gained more yards from that, which now it turned into a 3-yard rushing touchdown for Gordon to end the game for the Broncos to win 13-7. So that was the first round of this tournament. So now next week, there will be 2 tournaments. People still playing for first place to get positions 1 through 8, and 9th place tournament for 9 to 16. The matchups for it we'll have in the 9th place bracket, the Browns at the Eagles, the Bengals at the Titans, the Falcons at the Ravens, the Buccaneers at the Saints, and in the first place tournament, we will have the Bears at the Lions, the Seahawks at the Giants, the Cardinals at the Rams, and then lastly, the Chargers at the Broncos. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned next week at the same time for round 2. Thank you.